Good, happy Friday morning. Is Friday, September 2nd, 2022. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Friday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday morning, so let's get started right now. But first, let's begin with a look at your traffic for this Friday morning. Let's take a look at those roadways right now. And here is a look at your traffic map for this Friday morning. As you can see on I-93, it is a good ride on I-93 this morning, making your way through Concord. But we get over here and we have a little incident. Right lane is closed due to an incident on I-93 northbound at exit 16 Portsmouth Street. So be prepared for that, but otherwise, making your way all the way through I-93, through Hooksett, and by Manchester, and 293 as well around the Manchester area, and all the way into Boston. You got a good ride, not too bad of a ride for you this morning, making your way into the Boston on I-93. Over on the Spod lane, it is a okay-ish ride. You got medium-paced traffic with a little bit of smooth sailing over on the Spod lane this morning. Over on I-95, not too bad of a ride on I-95. You got a good ride with a little tiny spots of medium-paced traffic, but not too bad of a ride there. 101, not too bad of a ride, as you can see on 101 this morning. You got smooth sailing traffic with a little bit of medium-paced traffic by the Epping area, but not too bad. And around the Manchester area, not too bad of a ride for you this morning in the Manchester area, so that is great news there. And Route 3 around the Merrimack and Nashua area, not too bad of a ride, as you can see. And Route 28 all the way into the border of Massachusetts, not too bad of a ride for all of you there. That is a look at your morning traffic map for this Friday morning. Happy Friday. And now, let's get to your news. First up, 1 killed, 3 injured in Peterborough crash. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The nights are getting colder, but the savings are heating up. Abundant Life's 47th annual preseason stove and fireplace sale happens this Labor Day weekend. With the lowest prices of the year, you'll save up to 40% on all wood, gas, and pellet stoves, fireplaces, and inserts. We are New Hampshire's largest since 1972, and we'll beat any competitor's price. Abundant Life Stoves, celebrating 50 years.
Well, Steve, the chief of Peterborough Police, Scott Gennard, just confirmed to us that 1 person died. 3 others were rushed to the hospital following a head-on collision that shut down part of Route 101 earlier this evening. Now, take a look at this video. As you can see, there was a very heavy response from first responders. Many of them remain on scene now, and Route 101 does remain blocked off between Union Street and Old Dublin Road at this hour. Again, Chief Gennard tells us that a white sedan and a dark-colored Jeep collided head-on after one of those vehicles crossed over the center line. Now, there was a driver and a passenger in each of those vehicles. Again, 1 person died in the wreck. Their identity is not being released at this time. The other 3 were taken to the hospital, including 2 of whom were life-flighted by helicopter, the other taken by ambulance to Monadnock Hospital. This happened around 7:45 earlier tonight, and Peterborough Police remain on scene investigating what exactly happened. Now, at this point, there is no timeline as to when Route 101 may be reopened to traffic, but we're going to continue to work this scene and try and bring you some of the latest details online. And, of course, first thing tomorrow morning on Daybreak. But for now, live in Peterborough, Scott Cook, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Applications due Friday for a program to fund affordable housing in New Hampshire. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
What does it take to be the best? It takes guts.
$100 million, more than half of that, for developers to build affordable multifamily homes as builders hit budget roadblocks when trying to get the supplies they need.
We're facing the perfect storm. We have record high inflation. We have supply chain issues. We're having issues with grading of lumber.
Matt Mayberry, Executive VP of the New Hampshire Home Builders Association, says the need has been dire among builders to get the funding needed to build significant projects that families can afford.
If you had a budget to build 72 residential units, but the cost of materials kept going up, you would scale back the budget. And that meant you scaled back the amount of units you built. So you may have proposed 72, but you could only build 48.
Those impacts have a trickle-down effect, leaving families with limited rental options, forcing them to look elsewhere, eventually hitting employers who need help filling positions.
Every day I hear from businesses who are like, if we could build our own housing and put our employees up in that housing, we would seriously consider that for a lot of employers.
The program has some requirements. The money needs to be used to build multifamily housing and affordable to families at or below 80% of the area median income, with a goal of units hitting the market within 18 months. So the deadline to submit all applications is tomorrow. Staff will start going through applications, figuring out who is eligible next week. Now, if this money does not cover everybody and go far enough, it's going to get competitive. Caswell says they hope to have a list out as far as who's getting some of this funding at the end of the month. Live in Manchester, Marissa Tansino, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire reaches multi-million-dollar opioid settlement with Johnson & Johnson. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The nights are getting colder, but the savings are heating up. Abundant Life's 47th annual pre-season stove and fireplace sale happens this Labor Day weekend. With the lowest prices of the year, you'll save up to 40% on all wood, gas, and pellet.
Really, it's about these folks who have been, and many of them who became addicted through no fault of their own. They really need our help to kick these substances and get their lives back in order.
More than $31 million coming to the Granite State to help with opioid prevention and treatment. It's part of a more than $40 million settlement with Johnson & Johnson. The state alleging the company aggressively marketed its drugs to Granite Staters and misled patients about how addictive they could be.
We need to stop people from dying of opioid use disorder.
Deputy Attorney General James Buffetti says the money will go through a state-run trust fund with a board of commissioners making recommendations about how the dollars should be spent.
We're talking about treatment. We're talking about transportation services to treatment. We're talking about medication-assisted treatment for people who are in our jails and prisons. We're talking about any range of services that help people who are suffering from opioid use disorder.
Any town, city, or state agency is eligible to apply for a grant. George Maglaras, president of the New Hampshire Association of Counties, says it can help folks at home, too.
This trust will be giving folks property tax relief as a result of this infusion of cash.
And right now, there are millions of dollars in that trust fund from previous settlements. You can learn more about that and how you can apply for one of the new grants by heading over to our website or mobile app. Live in Concord, Hannah Cotter, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Marina owner accused of sexually assault pleads not guilty to witness tampering charges. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The nights are getting colder, but the savings are heating up. Abundant Life's 47th annual pre-season stove and fireplace.
Is Mr. Fortier going to enter pleas of not guilty? Does he waive a reading? Yes, he does, Your Honor.
Appearing for a virtual hearing in Belknap County Superior Court Thursday morning, not guilty pleas were entered on the behalf of Brian Fortier. The 50-year-old was arraigned on charges of witness tampering. He is also facing charges of sexual assault. Back in April, a grand jury indicted Fortier, who is accused of sexually assaulting a teenage employee who worked for him at the West Alton Marina. A police arrest warrant says the assaults took place on 2 occasions, once at the marina and once on Fortier's boat. Fortier is also accused of texting the victim, encouraging him to, quote, stick by his side and offering the victim financial benefits.
My sense of this case is it's likely to be a trial case given the nature of the charges and the likely penalties.
But before that can happen, the defense says it is waiting to receive specific evidence from the prosecution,
including some communications between the defendant and others and medical and counseling records of the complaining witness. And so it may take some time for those to unpack those issues between Mr. Livenoy and myself. We're working collaboratively and trying to get that resolved.
Both sides are due back in court on November 3rd to discuss a trial date.
And now lawsuits have also been filed against Fortier by 4 former employees who alleged in their complaints that they were subjected to sexual harassment and abuse. Fortier's lawyers have told News 9 he denies the claims against him. Reporting live, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Doctors hope New Hampshire residents will get new COVID-19 boosters. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The nights are getting colder, but the savings are heating up. Abundant Life's 47th annual preseason stove and fireplace sale happens this Labor Day weekend. With the lowest prices of the year, you'll save up to 40% on all.
Well, Marissa, local doctors are hoping that these reformulated booster shots will be approved tonight and available in the Granite State starting after Labor Day. The FDA already authorized these boosters this week, even though they have not been tested in humans. Doctors say the FDA and CDC are willing to move forward without that human testing because of the company's experience with other vaccines and booster shots over the last couple of years. But that, of course, is something that could make people hesitant about getting the vaccines. Granite State doctors tell us residents are already experiencing vaccine fatigue and are less willing to get another round of booster shots than they were last fall.
I will warn people that for the last 2 winters, we've had a major spike in early January. And we hope that doesn't happen, but it may happen. And probably the main function of this booster would be to prevent a spike like that from happening.
The CDC, more than 90% of COVID cases in the country right now stem from the BA4 and BA5 subvariants, which these new booster shots specifically target. Live in studio, Scott Cook, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Judge to write order after Mar-a-Lago hearing for special master to review items obtained in search. Let's take a listen to that video from WPBF 25 News, Florida.
Conoce al Google Pixel 6a, un teléfono más inteligente por un precio más inteligente, potenciado por el chip Google.
Thank you. The Department of Justice and former President Donald Trump's legal team facing off in court for the first time since the FBI searched Mar-a-Lago 3 weeks ago. Our cameras were rolling as Trump's attorney left the courtroom just a few hours ago.
The federal judge heard from both sides on whether to grant the Trump request for a third party to independently review the documents seized by the FBI from his Palm Beach estate.
Our Suji Nam was there for today's hearing and is now live near the federal courthouse in West Palm Beach with the new details. Suji?
Tiffany Todd, the judge said she will be releasing a written order. The only thing is we just don't know when that's going to be. Now, today's hearing lasted about 2 hours. We heard from former President Donald Trump's attorneys as he argued why they believe a special master is needed in this case, saying that the court-appointed person would help assess the seized documents. His counsel alleged that this entire case is an objection to the Fourth Amendment law and that they were purposely blinded by the discoveries of the investigation. Meanwhile, the DOJ arguing that this is a lawful search for 3 possible federal crimes. Lawyers say a special master will only delay the investigation and also jeopardize the intelligence gathered. They also argue that their team practiced an abundance of caution by putting aside the more than 60 sets of materials that could be qualified as privileged. We spoke to a former DOJ attorney about why some cases have a special master.
And the special master then reviews the documents that were seized, usually, or in my experience, exclusively for attorney-client privilege. It makes a determination as to whether certain documents should be protected as covered by the privilege.
And again, we don't know the timeline as to when that order will be released, but of course we'll be here and bring you all the latest updates, both on air and online. Reporting live in West Palm Beach, I'm Suji Not for WPBF 25 News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Thank you for tuning in and watching this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. Goodbye.